back block, and that's
He's the guy that throws his body around.
Mike Drop Sports. Steel City Live.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show, our live Pittsburgh Steelers postgame show. As we get a win, man, and the Steelers still don't answer some of the questions that they really need to answer here in week 3. But a win in the National Football League is a win. I will agree with Mike Tomlin with that. However, the Pittsburgh Steelers probably could have done some things differently throughout this ball game and what looked like a blowout early in the game. 14-0. The Pittsburgh Steelers jump out, causing turnovers, really just dominating. You look at the total yardage, Steelers over 100. Pats had 20 in that first quarter, and then it was just downhill. The Steelers couldn't get out of their own way. The Steelers causing turnover after turnover, 5 turnovers. Was that more the Patriots or the Steelers? I'd say a little mix of both, but both teams basically trying to give the other one the game, and the Pittsburgh Steelers end up coming out victorious. And this was a rough one. We will go over the game, even though it was a win. The Steelers still didn't look the way that I thought they should have looked. I predicted a 24-21 game. I thought it was going to be close. But hey, we were close. 21-14 as the Pittsburgh Steelers do hold on for a victory in week 3 as they improve to 2-1 here on the young season. And a win is a win. This is the National Football League. You will have highs and lows, and the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, sadly, are experiencing a low. Yes, they are 2-1, so that is something to be thankful for, considering this is a low part of the season. Aaron Rodgers will not make it to the end of the year being on his back, down in, down out. Guys, that is the truth. He is on his back far too much. The offensive line still has a lot of issues. They got to figure this out, and they got to figure it out real, real quick because the schedule gets no easier, my friends. And the Pittsburgh Steelers cannot afford to continue to have this poor offensive line play that they did. I did like the way that they got Jalen Warren more involved here early and often in week 3. That was a blessing, and I think that that helped, and it started to show. The dividends, and I think that that's what they need to do a little bit more here. You saw Kenneth Gainwell get that early score. That was set up because what? Of the misdirection. I was screaming that. Misdirection, crosses over the middle. They got to do some more of those things that we talked about earlier today. But yet the Steelers, again, were able to hold on. Let's get to the chat here as the Pittsburgh Steelers win 21-14 in week 3 against the New England Patriots in Foxborough. Roberta Campbell, thank the Lord the defense played their best game. The Patriots did everything to hand the Steelers the game. I don't care for Arthur's play calling. I think the play calling was substandard at times, no doubt about it. But I don't think this was a great game from the defense. Yes, they caused a lot of turnovers. They did. But they still got gashed, and they still weren't able to get off the field in fourth down situations. They gave up many of those. The Patriots were easily moving the football. And yeah, I think Roberta's right. It probably was their best game, considering the turnovers. But man, it's just not there where it needs to be just yet. And we'll see what happens as we move forward. Tom Ford, ain't no party like a Diddy party. What's up, Jason? Good to see you, Tom. Tom says, I was yelling at the TV, wondering why Aaron Rodgers kept running the ball. He has no time. The offensive line is super ineffective, guys. And if that doesn't change, the Steelers' season doesn't change. This is we continually the theme as the Steelers try to figure this thing out up front, and it's on both sides of the football. Derek Harmon, I thought, was a welcome addition on the defensive side. He had his first career NFL sack. TJ Watt breaks his 6-game sackless streak as the Steelers do find ways to turn the ball over, but the offensive line never figured it out. Again, here in week 3, still haven't figured it out. Uh, and can you imagine? Here's the thing. If the offensive line figures this shit out, the Steelers start to put up 40 points a game. That's reality. but the Steelers still having many issues that have been reoccurring issues for the last couple years. James Bauman, what's up, Jason? Missed the best damn sports show on YouTube. Well, you're here now, brother. We appreciate you. Good to see you, James. Thomas Breeze in a house. Defense played in the first and fourth quarters. Yeah, but they weren't able to get that complete game. You're right, Thomas. They played when they, I guess they played when they had to. But yes, definitely could have been better. Tom Ford said the Steelers should have won by a lot more than that with all the turnovers. Absolutely. You look at the sheet, you look at 5 turnovers for the Pittsburgh Steelers defensively, and you say to yourself, that's a game they win by 50. They hang 50 and they win that game going away. And it looked like that at the beginning, but yet the Steelers weren't able to continue that. They aren't able to stay consistent. And that is the real issue. If you break this all down, consistency is the real issue here. They have flashes of great play. They have flashes of good offensive play, solid offensive play, and then the penalties will come. Then the boneheaded mental errors will come. The complete absolute whiffs on plays will come. And you wonder what's going on. But again, Aaron Rodgers will not make it through week 6 if this continues for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's keep going. James Bauman says Pat Meyer needs to go. I think that's a reoccurring theme. Absolutely. Everybody seems to think that for the last couple seasons. Echelon Motion Pictures. You paid DK Metcalf $33 million. He has 107 yards in 3 games, but you know what? People are going to say, give him time. He did score. I'll give him that. But you're right. I think the involvement needs to be more. Absolutely. I don't think you're wrong there. I think that the Steelers need to figure out ways to get the ball in DK Metcalf's hands. And I preached all game or all pregame. Get those quick underneath routes, those quick crossers. Get the ball in the playmaker's hands. It doesn't have to be a screenplay. What about those quick hitters, those 3-step drops and fire in the fucking pigskin, as a once great quarterback said in Napoleon Dynamite? Fire that pigskin. And I think that you start to see a different offense if you're able to do that. The play action pass is a scheme that has to be set up. And if you're not setting it up with everything else that you're doing, it's kind of worthless. And it only works here and there periodically. And the Steelers got to find a way to hit those quick slants, to work those crossing underneath routes, to create confusion, to create separation inside of the middle of those defenses that they're playing each week. And they don't do that just yet. And I'm wondering when we'll see it, but I'm not sure if we ever will this season. I don't know. I'm sorry, Jason, but Rodgers was not good. No need to be sorry. I think he was good when it mattered in certain situations, but I can't blame a lot of this on Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because he's on his back every single down, and that is not conducive to winning. And it's going to plague the Steelers, and you're going to see Mason Rudolph sooner rather than later. So, they got to get it together, man. They got to get it together. We'll go over some of the statistics of this game. Also, we will go over some of the things that happened around the league. Let's start with the Cleveland Browns beating the Green Bay Packers 13-10 in a real shocker to me. I haven't got to watch the highlights of that game. I haven't got to see that game yet in its totality to really give you a fair and accurate assessment of what went on there. But the Cleveland Browns able to come in and get a W here and trail the whole game. That game, you saw it. Very close defensive battle. I'm not sure what all transpired. I would love to see the highlights and really what happened, and I will get to that. But the Browns do hold on 13-10. And in other AFC North news, 48-10, the Bengals were getting beat up as of when I came on the show. There was about 2 minutes left when I was making up my props for the show, and they were getting a absolute beat down 48-10 by the Minnesota Vikings, a team in which the Pittsburgh Steelers go on to play. Both of those teams today, in the Bengals and the Vikings, playing with backup quarterbacks. So the Steelers really need to take advantage of that in Ireland next week against the Minnesota Vikings in a game that the Steelers must have. The schedule gets very tough for the Steelers, and beating a team like the Minnesota Vikings will mean oh so much for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. Let's keep going. Echelon says the offense sucks and it's mainly Arthur Smith sucks. Same shit, different different Yeah, sorry. Run, run, run. Yeah, I agree. I agree that it's a lot of the same, but we got to look at this. Every offensive coordinator has put the same exact product out there. And there's only one constant variable, guys, and that is Mike Tomlin. Sorry. That is the truth. That is reality. When it looks the exact same, no matter who is the offensive coordinator, minus a guy like Haley or something like that, you have not seen a different product. It has looked identical to what you've been used to seeing. And there's only one variable there, and that's Mike Tomlin. Tom Ford says, because of Aaron Rodgers being on his back, is that why he handed the ball off so much? I, I would assume so. Not being able to have any protection, Tom, it does change your game plan. It does change the pace. And we're going to go over some of the statistics of Aaron Rodgers. Echelon says two more things for me. Shouldn't have got rid of Najee, and you need wide receivers, Traper, Tyreek, Romeo Dobbs immediately. Say what you want. This offense needs to become pass heavy. It's the way of the NFL. You have to be able to move the football through the air, but yet you still have to be able to run the football because if you can't run the football, you can't pass the football, guys. You just cannot. That's at every stage of the football game or football development. You have to be able to pass the or run the football in order to pass. It's just the way it works. Why? Because defenses can load up on one thing. If you can't do the run, defenses load up on the pass. If you can't they load up on the run. You have to be balanced to be an offensive juggernaut in the National Football League. It is the only way. It's the only way. You can trade for whoever you want. It doesn't matter. If you can't run the football, if your offensive line can't win in the trenches, you can't win. You cannot be an elite offense. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't there. He wasn't in the game, so I can't dog Caleb today. Yeah, it's the same thing, and I get what you're right. There's a lot. What you're saying is right, but it all comes down to a couple variables that have to be in place, or you don't win. Tom agrees with Echelon. No, they don't attempt to pass at all. We threw our first slant in the fourth quarter. We need to come out passing. I agree. If you heard me earlier in the show, I said you have to have those passes underneath. You have to have those quick slants. You have to be able to fire that ball. You have to be able to have those three-step drops and fire it and get the ball out and get the playmakers the ball. I agree with that 1,000%. But again, guys, if you can't run, you can't move in the trenches. You don't get no push in the trenches. Your quarterback's on his back every time you attempt to pass the ball. You're in trouble. Yes, a lot of that is they try to run the play action a little bit too much because they're not setting it up properly. We talked about that in the pregame show. If you don't set up the play action pass properly, it doesn't work. And there's a lot there. There's a lot of variables. It's just not one thing, guys. And that's what we need to look at here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get to one more comment here before we go to the statistics, and I'm going to get a drink. James Bauman says if the offense becomes pass heavy, it has to be quick passes. Um, yeah, no doubt. I mean, you can't be just a quick pass team. You can't be just a deep pass team. You can't just throw it intermediate. You have to have balance, guys. And I think a lot of fans get misconstrued here a little bit with what you got to do offensively. Balance, balance, balance. Consistency has to be what you do. It's just a must. It's a must. It's an absolute must. All right, let's get to we'll try to catch up in the comments. I've seen a few times where Rodgers had plenty of time to throw the ball, yet he still handed it off. Yeah, but it's hard to tell. You know what I mean? If you're handing the ball off, you don't really get to see the play develop. It's a handoff. You're not handing it off. If it's a draw or design draw, you know what I mean? It's hard to ever tell that off of just handing the ball off if you're going to have time, whether or not to be able to pass the football. That's a sticky situation for me. They throw screens that motions are lackluster. Where are the mesh and levels concepts? The exotic motions. We look like a 13-year-old playing Madden for the first time, and he only knows two plays. I agree with that. I agree with that, and I preach that all the time, man. If you watch the channel here, I'm not sure if you watch or not. I preach levels, concepts of varying degrees that are definitely far greater than what they're doing, and I'm sure they try to run some of those things. I'm sure, but again, the motions have to be more complex. The play calling itself has to be more complex, has to confuse defenses, and if you're doing the same vanilla things all the time, it just doesn't work, guys. Thank you, Echelon. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Uh, you had to watch on your phone. That's hey. At least you got to watch it, Scott. I was wondering if you did get to be able to catch it. Glad you were able to get that done and watch the game. Let's go over some statistics here about and it kind of tells the tale in some ways of what transpired. But again, guys, you get 5 turnovers in a football game. Hats off to the defense. That's great. I love it. Some of that were mental errors on the Pats, though, too, not holding on to the football and things of that nature. We'll give credit to the defense, absolutely. But you get 5 turnovers, you need to win that game running away. Uh, I'm sorry, it has to be. Let's go. Let's start with the Steelers, and we'll start with their statistics here. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers passing. He was 16 of 23 for 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That interception to Robert Spillane was absolute dog shit. It is what it is. You got to be better. Aaron got to be better there. But only 139 yards passing. This reminds me of the rookie Ben Roethlisberger days. Throw the ball 20 times a game, 100 and some yards through the air. He throws a tutty or something in the air, and that's it. And that's the offense. That's what it reminds me of right now. And I hate that because I want to see more from an experienced quarterback such as Aaron Rodgers. I want to see more down the field. I want to see more intermediate. I want to see more mixing and mesh and rub routes and just really getting the playmakers the football and allowing them to run down the field and do some things. It becomes really, really frustrating when you start to see just the same vanilla thing each week, guys. It really does. But Aaron Rodgers' stat line there for you guys. Let's look at the wide receivers. You know they're not going to be much better. If Aaron Rodgers throws for 140 yards passing, you know there isn't going to be much in the way of receiving. Again, the leading receiver here today, Jalen Warren, 5 catches, 34 yards. Calvin Austin with that big touchdown, only 3 catches, 34 yards in the air for Calvin Austin. DK Metcalf, the $33 million man, 3 catches, 32 yards, but did have a big touchdown. To kick things off. So we have to really like that about DK getting that big touchdown early. Kenneth Gainwell with the misdirection toss play. They need to do more misdirection things. They need to be able to do more of that in a big way. But we'll see. Kenneth Gainwell, DK started it off, got that scoring. Calvin Austin caps off the scoring with that beautiful catch that he had. And that was a nice ball by Aaron Rodgers, putting it to where the DB wasn't going to be able to see it, wasn't going to be able to play that football. But only Calvin was going to be able to see that and get that ball. And that was definitely that was Rodgers' best throw of the game, in my opinion. Precision there and very veteran move on Aaron Rodgers. Let's go to the rushing stat lines for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Jalen Warren looks like 18 carries, 47 yards, only averaging about 2.6 a carry. Not good enough to win in the National Football League, guys. That has to be better. Kenneth Gainwell, 4 carries, 16 yards, average about 4 yards a carry, but did have the big score. So we give it up to Kenneth Gainwell. I thought this was going to be a more of a Jalen Warren coming out party today, and it kind of was. He had some yards through the air. He had some ground yards here, getting 47 yards on the ground. So about 100 and some yards total for Jalen Warren. But again, guys, when your quarterback's on his back a lot, the offensive line gets zero push. Mental errors by Broderick Jones in really important situations. Troy Fautanu made that mental error coming off sides or late in the game there. You can't have those, and it really puts the game in the balance. If you'd have come away with 3 there, it would have really worried me if Calvin Austin wasn't going to be able to score that touchdown. It would have really worried me that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to be screwed. Let's look at Drake May's stat line, and this should be really sad for Pittsburgh Steeler fans considering yet another quarterback throws for 2 touchdowns, 268 yards, 37 attempts, and 28 completions for Drake May. That was a damn good day for Drake May, who's played really, really well here through 3 weeks in the National Football League. I think the Patriots really have something to work with Drake May. I liked his legs. But again, what did we talk about in the pregame show? Making Drake move up in the pocket. And when they were able to do that, I told you that had to be the way you attack Drake May. When you make him step up in the pocket and climb the ladder, you can collapse things around him and cause mistakes. They caused fumbles, caused would-be interceptions. They did a lot. When they made Drake May climb the ladder, I told you guys that was going to be important, and sure shit it was. But the Steelers didn't do enough of it. Drake May still able to get things done, still able to put up some big numbers, still able to really dissect the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. But when you were able to force him up and climb the ladder, you were able to do some good things, causing turnovers and things of that nature. But when Drake May got and rolled out to his right or left, the Steelers were in trouble. They had no answer. They had no spy on him, nothing. They were not able to stop him. He was easily picking up fourth down plays, easily taking the ball and getting first downs on third and longs and second and longs and things of that nature. They had to force the issue on the edges, and they did at times, but not enough. So Drake May, big stat lines for your New England Patriots. Let's keep going here. Patriots stat lines on the wide receivers. Henry had a big day. We said that was going to be something that the Steelers had to control the tight end, and I didn't think they were able to do that. Stevenson had a decent day. So you can see that there, guys. Their stat lines. They did hold Diggs in check, which I like. But for the most part, I thought the Patriots did what? Spread the ball around and were able to move it effectively. You don't have to utilize the same targets all the time, and Drake May did an excellent job at that. Let's go to their rushing stats for the New England Patriots here. Drake May, 7 carries, 7 times he got forced out. 45 yards rushing. And then you look, Travion Henderson only had 28 yards. Gibson had 25 yards or 29 yards. And Stevenson, that big fumble to start the game. And then the fumble late, what was that, in the second half or something? Or whenever he had 2 fumbles. Had a really bad day. A guy that's fumbled the football the most in the National Football League over the last year and a half, 2 years. So really bad showing for Stevenson. Again, he got to learn to hold on to the football if the Patriots are going to be any better. So yeah, that was the Patriots. I think the Steelers did a fine job of corralling the run at times. They didn't get gashed by anyone in particular, but in totality, they gave up over 100 yards. Another over 100-yard performance for a team rushing, and that can't happen each and every week. All right, guys, let's go back to the comments here. Let me get a drink again. Again, put your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the live chat. Also, like, share, and subscribe here to us at Mike Drop Sports. I'm your host, Jason, as always. We're diving in here as the Pittsburgh Steelers win 21-14 over the New England Patriots in Week 3, improving to 2-1. James says Tomlin only understands vanilla offense and defense. I think he got to change, man. I've been preaching it for years, and I don't know why he never adapts. It's the same story, and I agree, James. It's definitely really, really tough. Echelon Motion Picture says, last question. When Mike Tomlin leaves, would you mind having an offensive-minded guy? Absolutely. I don't mind. I don't think coaches, yes, they bring in their particular expertise of what they did. Absolutely. And I see why you say offensive minded or defensive minded. I would like to really see a manager of men. And I think Mike Tomlin does that, but I'm talking schematically. A manager that allows his coordinators to coordinate, doesn't put his thumbprint on everything, doesn't have to control everything. That's the next type of head coach I would like to see. More of a manager in totality as opposed to a offensive minded or defensive minded guy. That I don't think that weighs as much in my mind as it may some of you. but I would really like to see a guy that can manage in totality and really bring a nice, well-rounded approach to the head coaching job in the city of Pittsburgh. I think it would be a breath of fresh air here moving forward. Andrew Man, 69. Did every game get a kicked block today? I don't know. Steelers didn't have a block kick. Yeah, Ben could play without an O line. Yeah, Ben was something special. Steelers should try offensive minded head coach. Seems to be a theme for you guys. I think you guys seem to like that. Echelon, bad INT from Aaron there, but if you watch the playback, there were only like two routes ran. And absolutely. And Echelon brings up a good point. And before I move forward, you got to rewatch these guys to really give an accurate assessment. These are what we're doing here are gut check, immediate, quick reactions. Once I watch that thing back and I get to see things in a different perspective without the emotion, without my fan hat on, you get a little bit of a different view, especially when you watch all 22 and things of that nature. It's definitely something, that shows a little bit of a different way things are being attacked and definitely gives you a little bit different insight. DK 3 for 32 trash, but we were talking about George complaining. I played wide receiver. I would complain too. And it's fine to complain. I don't bitch about the complaining as much as I don't like the mindset of it's me. I don't like that. And I know wide receivers are divas. I get that, but that shouldn't be. I think wide receivers need to be more about the team and understand what needs to happen in totality for a team to succeed. And that's where I get frustrated with a guy like George Pickens. When you give up on the team, you give up on the team in terms of schematic attacking things schematically. You're not doing your job. You're allowing things to happen and transpire that are negative things because of the lack of effort on your part. That those things bother me. Complaining don't bother me. That is what it is. You want the football? I like people that want the football, but again, you got to be more of a team guy, and I think that was more the George Pickens thing. Scott Chapin, what's going on with Roman? Is he there just or here there just a block? I think Roman Wilson has just literally rubbed people the wrong way. Last year, guys, it wasn't because he was just hurt. I told you that. Everybody knows that it's out now. But I told you that before it ever even happened, before it was out, what was going on there. Roman Wilson didn't understand the schematics, period. That was a problem for Roman Wilson. He had a real issue getting into that playbook, understanding what to do. Yeah, it's one thing just to know the plays, but you have to understand what you need to do in each concept. You have to understand what to do every time the ball snap in a more complex and more elaborate way at the NFL level. And Roman Wilson failed to do that. And I think he's still failing to do that. You have to earn the trust of a guy like Aaron Rodgers, a guy that's played in the league for a good billion years. You have to earn the trust and show him that you understand every concept, that you understand every play call. And if you're not doing that, he's not going to want you in the game. And don't think Roman Wilson's not in there because Mike Tomlin doesn't want him to be in there. He's not in there because Aaron Rodgers doesn't want him to be in there. Aaron Rodgers isn't comfortable with him in certain situations. And that has become the problem for Roman Wilson. And he has to figure that out, guys. Nobody else but Roman can figure that out. Andrew Man, I don't know. It looked like Aaron was too old to throw the ball. I think his arm's just fine. I think it's live. I don't think that that's the issue. But it is what it is. If Najee did that, we would say he runs like he was concrete in his cleats. Najee come back. I'm not a Najee Harris fan. I wish him well. I think he did things well at times, but I think Najee played in a system in Pittsburgh, that gave him the football a ton. And to get the football as much as Najee Harris did, I don't know. I would expect him more. I'm just not a huge lover of his performances. He averaged very low numbers in terms of yards per game. If you look at it, it's not enough for a star running back that got the amount of carries that Najee Harris had. I don't care about the 1,000 yard stuff because they play 17 games. Whoopee, if you can get 1,000 yards in a season, great. It's not crazy to me. Those aren't eye popping numbers. Najee did some good things, and I'm not dogging Najee. I think Najee did some good things, but in my eyes, he's not the bell cow you're looking for. Maybe that's on the Steelers. Maybe schematically that was on the Steelers. Um, Maybe all that wasn't on Najee, and I don't think it was, but it just didn't work. And I think it could be better. And I think right now it's not working either. So I don't think they've yet to find the answer, even with Najee or without Najee. And that's concerning. And I know what the answer is. And so do you guys. It's not about Najee. It's not about Jalen. It's not about anything but the offensive line. They have to be better, period. And if that happens, or until that happens, we're going to continue to see this same product, guys. It doesn't change. Offensive line play is what is hurting the Steelers team offensively and has hurt the Steelers team offensively for a long time. Defensively, I think it's more schematics, in my opinion. Yes, the injuries are a concern, but they weren't lighting the world on fire either in week one when they were healthy. But again, I think the addition of Derek Harmon helped. But this is a long season too. And I don't want to overreact to any one thing. I don't want to overly react to one stage of the Steelers team more than the other. Because I think, again, this is a work in progress and injuries have mounted up early for the Steelers. I want them to just continually hold on, continue to win ball games. Yeah, you're going to have losses in there, here and there. But I want to see them continually, stay winning, get a win here and there, keep themselves afloat until they get healthy. And I want to see them really start to hit their stride here mid to late season because I feel like the Steelers have started out pretty good over the last couple years. Last year they were 10-2 and then fell apart. I want to see them get it done here, not get over the top, and really start to hit that stride mid to late season where maybe we could see a playoff win. Maybe we could see a different Steelers team in December, January. Maybe we can start to see a little bit of a different product than what we've been used to here over the last couple of years. All right, guys, the comments are getting deep here, so I am going to skip around. If I forget your comment or don't see your comment, make sure that you guys go ahead and put it back in there, and I will get to it as I move down. But I'm way behind. Andrew Man 69. Steelers defense collected all their season stats in one game. Scott Chafin says, I think Warren is a change of pace back, not downing him. He's great once he gets momentum, saying he's not an every down back. I think he can be just what you say, but I think he can be a lead rusher too. I think more, again, guys, we're looking at the wrong things. The offensive line's performance kills a lot of what we're doing here, a lot of what we're talking about. And until that's fixed, it's real simple. Things don't change. Scott says, yeah, we're bringing another big back in a big back. Well, that was what Caleb Johnson was supposed to be. And after last week's mistake, now, you're back to square one with that until Caleb Johnson can earn his way back onto the football field. Again, that's what Caleb Johnson was supposed to be, that guy that supplements Jalen Warren. That's what Kenneth Gainwell is supposed to be. But again, yeah, the Steelers can't do anything without an offensive line, guys. It's real simple. I don't care if it's Najee, Jalen, Kenneth Gainwell, Caleb Johnson, whoever. A lot of running backs aren't going to be able to run behind that offensive line effectively. Echelon says, what is Caleb doing? He got out of Mike Tomlin's good graces, man. Giving up what he did last week, and I think he cost the Steelers the football game there for sure. He was the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. Uh, didn't do himself any favors. All right, let's get to somebody that I haven't answered here. My Floyd is pink. What's up? So what if we won ugly? A win is a win, Bill Cowher. And I agree. A win is a win. It's hard to win in this league, guys. We talked about it before the game. This is the tightest competition you will see out of any professional sport. This right here, the National Football League, has the closest, tightest competition week in, week out. That's why in week 3 of the NFL season, you had a massive game here that had major implications moving forward in the Steelers Patriots game. This was a massive game, whether people want to believe it or not. This was a huge game for both teams. And I think the Steelers were fortunate to come out on top. But yet again, this was a massive game for both teams, and the Steelers were able to hold on. Sadly, I still think we were looking at two bad football teams right now in terms of the rest of the AFC conference big shots. You know what I'm saying? I don't think either team will be able to compete right now as it sits. And I'm not saying that doesn't change throughout the season, but they're not going to be able to compete with a Bills team, a Ravens team, things of that nature. Those are just the truths. And again, I'm not saying that doesn't change, but as it sits right now, I think you saw a game between two football teams that don't have it together just yet. Warren was way more explosive last year and is just a better running back. And Najee can't catch. I thought Najee could catch out of the backfield at times. I thought he had some big plays. Again, guys, I don't want to beat Najee Harris up right now. I wish the man the best. I hope he has a great career. I hope he makes lots of money. I hope he has a beautiful family, settles down somewhere, and does his thing. Again, I wish Najee Harris nothing but the best. But it didn't work out. It just didn't. Steelers weren't comfortable with paying him that kind of money. I told you they weren't going to before that ever happened, and we were right there. I often wonder that echelon myself. You never know, man. You never know. Broderick, in my eyes, still has time to turn this around, but the clock is it's growing thin here. The time that he has in order to be better is really starting to grow thin, and he's got to do something to figure this shit out. James Bauman, wish all Steelers Nation would admit Tomlin's done and not a good slash smart head coach. We all seen his time mismanagement as one example. Uh, yeah, I think Mike has major deficiencies. I do in situational football, time management, and just being plain and basic and vanilla. It's definitely an issue, and I'll call it like I see it. If he does good things, I'm going to say it, and if he does some bad things, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be fair to everybody, but yeah, it's definitely troublesome. Devin Burkhead, at least we didn't give up 30 or more points this weekend. Certainly concerning the first 2 weeks. Should easily be 3-0, but it is what it is. Absolutely, Devin. I'm glad that happened too. If they would have given up 30 again, that would have been 7 straight games, I believe, giving up 30 points or more. And that would have been definitely reason to sound the alarm, no doubt about it. But they got fortunate. They did cause some turnovers, and a lot of that's good for the Steelers. They did some special things. Sacking Drake May, causing those turnovers. The Steelers defenders are really effective at punching the football out. They're really effective at doing some of the things that are necessary in order to cause the fumbles. But another thing we talked about before the game that I thought was really interesting that really transpired throughout the game was the ability for TJ Watt to be able to change direction. We talked about that initial bull rush and being able to turn himself back inside, doing that 360 and turning himself back into the middle of the play. That was why I was talking about making Drake May climb the ladder would be very effective for the Steelers, and TJ Watt could really eat that way. I thought he made some plays doing that initial bull rush, changing direction, being able to dive back into the center of the play. I thought the attention paid to TJ Watt allowed guys like Nick Herbig to make some big plays also. Allowed the Steelers defense to really eat, and definitely it was really interesting to watch some of the things that we talked about pregame really come to fruition inside of the game. It was really, really cool. And I want to applaud all of you for always having great ideas, for always talking about really important issues here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Andrew, what do you say? This is why Warren is a starter and Najee probably isn't even playing. I don't know if Najee played or this week or not. I don't even know if they played yet. So again, guys, I can't bash Najee today. I don't know. I don't know what he's got going on. Maybe I'll look into it. Extra black, point blank. The Steelers need a bigger number wide receiver too. Nobody gives Aaron bigger target besides Metcalf. I would like to see them do some more things also, yes, with the wide receivers. But Calvin Austin definitely needs to be involved in those underneath, allowing him to get out in space and allowing him to make some plays with his legs. That's not utilized. I don't think you saw enough of Ben Skoranek, a player that I really, really like. I think he can do some really special things. Again, guys, I think it boils down to one thing, and I keep saying it, it's the offensive line. It doesn't matter how many wide receivers you get. If you're on your back every time you drop back to throw the ball, it's trouble. It's trouble, guys. And I really hate to be the guy that repeats himself because it sucks to hear that, and I don't like to hear people repeat themselves. But until the Steelers fix this offensive line, nothing changes. Nothing changes. And I don't think it's the offensive line in totality. I think there's a couple weak links that others along that offensive line are trying to help manage. And I think that that's causing major disruption, and the chemistry just isn't there. I think the Steelers' offensive linemen need to do something that is worry about your job, play your job. And I think the rest takes care of himself. Um, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not an offensive lineman, never played offensive line, uh, and I don't know enough about it in terms of chemistry uh, to tell you exactly what they need to do at this juncture to fix this. Besides, I know schematics always help, preparation, things of that nature, and making sure you understand your assignment is always a good start. Yeah, Jonnu isn't a receiver, but he is. He can do it all. Play fullback, play running back, play slot, play tight end. He can do it all. If you look at the way he's designed, his athleticism, you definitely aren't mad that he can come out there and kind of do it all. I agree. They could use another wide receiver, no doubt. But I got to urge you guys to this: the trade deadline isn't for many weeks here, and depending on where the Steelers are at, maybe they do make that move. Maybe they do go out to a team that's doing very, very bad and they get their big name wide receiver off of them. Maybe they do that. They have the ability, they have the resources, they can do it. So maybe that does happen. But I think the Steelers need to hold on until reinforcements come. I think they need to continue to get healthy again until more reinforcements are available to them. And I think that their record and their position inside of the AFC conference is going to be very indicative of what they do toward the trade deadline. I didn't know. I haven't watched them echelon. I have to check them out. Najee has 13. They don't utilize him very much, Extra Black. He was targeted a couple times. I thought, you know, definitely there has to be more there. I agree. I don't know if I would say that he's not worth his pay, but we need to see more. Absolutely, I agree. And again, what's it all boil down to, guys? And I know a lot of us want to reinvent the wheel, and I get it. I do too. I'm the same as you guys. Anything I say, I'm not, that you guys put out there that you're thinking, I've probably thought it too, and I agree with a lot of it, you know. But I have to take my fan hat off sometimes and really break this thing down. And again, guys, it's the offensive line. What do you think about Arthur's play calling? It's hard to evaluate. Again, guys, I think Roberta gives a good question here. I think about the play calling. I can't really evaluate it yet. Why? Because I'm not getting to see the plays develop usually. I mean, I can sit here and say, yeah, it needs to be better, but the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into this game averaged 25 and a half points a game in the first two games. That was tied for eighth in the National Football League. It's hard to knock a top 10 offense in terms of scoring. it's hard for me to say that the play caller's bad when they're in the top 10 in scoring. You know, we'll see. We'll see after this week where they rank and kind of go from there. But I'm not getting to see a clear picture because of this line play. Jason, did you hear that the 49ers might trade for Sanders? No, I did not hear that, Tom. I did not hear that. Hmm. Yeah, I agree, Devin. It would be nice to be able to be more consistent, more balanced, guys, and that's the whole thing. What are your thoughts on Harmon's first game? That's from Roberta Campbell. My thoughts on Derek Harmon were this. I thought that there were some plays that I noticed that were okay, but I got to say this: for the first snaps of a regular season, in the regular season for a rookie, I think he did not disappoint. I think he did some things that I expected him to do. We talked about when he was drafted that initial push that Derek Harmon's able to get, the ability to push and collapse the pocket was there. I thought his ability to get his hands up in the air was there. Yes, he didn't produce batted balls or anything like that, but he was getting his hands up. He was being effective in muddying the pass lanes. I think Derek Harmon was a welcome addition. I think he did really, really well, and I think his arrow's pointing way up. And we thought that before, and I still believe that now that Derek Harmon is going to be a really, really good player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As long as luck stays on his side, he's able to stay healthy and he's able to continue to grow and progress. And who better to learn from than Cam Hayward on how to get those big paws up there in the NFL, how to bat those balls, how to really be effective in corralling the passer. It's rough from here on out, especially with the bye after next week. Absolutely, I agree. That's what I said, guys. This schedule gets no easier. This schedule does the Steelers no favors. The bye is positioned horribly. They got to go overseas next week. Coming out of that would be very bad at 2-2. It would. And I'm not trying to panic yet. I just think the Steelers have such a difficult schedule, such a difficult task ahead of them as the season progresses in terms of divisional play. You saw the Browns able to defeat the Green Bay Packers today. Again, I don't know the dynamics of that game and what transpired, but again, they were able to win. The Ravens games are going to be tough. The Bengals games, even with a backup quarterback, are going to be tough because they are AFC North matchups. The Steelers play in a tough division, and again, they're not going to have an easy road. They're just not. They play the Green Bay Packers. They play a lot of talented ball clubs moving forward, and I think the Steelers have to continue to chip out wins here early and get themselves in position to where they can afford a loss later in the year that's not going to be a backbreaker. So yeah, they got to come out of next week 3-1, and I think that would be best case scenario for the Steelers here through the first four games. Ahead of their bye week, going into their bye week 3-1, I think that would be really exciting. It would give the team another week here to get healthy. And that's when I'm like, yeah, week 6, week 7, when they really start to hit their stride, they start to really get healthy. They start to mend and gel together as an offensive line. They really start to get clicking on all cylinders. And I think by week 12, week 13, you're going to see a vastly different Steelers team if they can get through what I'm talking about here. You can get through next week. You're 3-1. You go into the bye. You come out. You're healthy. You can really get yourself on a roll if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, considering many teams might not be healthy that you're going in and facing. It might look like a curse having that early bye week, but it might help the Steelers get some of those early wins that are necessary because late season stumbles have plagued the Steelers. So you want to come out of these winning, especially these early games. For his first game. I'm not sure Harmon. Yeah, I thought so too. Cap 10. I'm tired of watching PQ waste of cap space. I thought PQ played uh I'm going to give him like an average grade because I think there were plays that he bombed, but yet I think there were plays that he did super good. I think consistency is his problem too. I just don't see that consistent play, and you have to have it in the middle. I thought Cole Holcomb played well at times also, but again, no consistency inside of the middle of the Steelers defense. You can't give up some of the middle of the field passing through the tight ends. The tight ends were eating, and you can't allow that. You have to be very active in terms of being able to guard those tight ends. And I think the Steelers really lacked there. I think they lacked in flowing to the football in terms of coming downhill and making those tackles outside on the edges to where, you're going to prevent a first down play by a guy like Drake May. I think that that's necessary to be able to come downhill, flow to the football, and attack. And I don't think the Steelers did that very well. For a few weeks now, I've been wondering why DK Metcalf wears number 4. 114 became available to him because he already had picked 4, and I just think he just went with it. I don't think he was going to change. So I don't truly know, Tom. I don't truly know. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun next week, Devin. Here we go. Roberto says, "Can they learn to get off the field 3 on 3rd and long?" Yeah, they get into too soft, man. Too soft of shell defense on those 3rd and long plays. And I understand you want to try to just keep everything in front of you. You want to play deep. I get that, but you got to have some aspects of the defense that are able to bring some pressure and do some different things. You can't just be vanilla and plain like that and play a soft zone and just hope to keep everything in front of you. You still have to be able to come up there and have some aggression and force some errant throws and cause some of those deeper throws on 3rd and long to maybe possibly be intercepted, be batted down. And when you have no real push up front, you're allowing the quarterback to just sit back there and either run or throw the football, eat with ease. It just doesn't work. You have to bring back the days of the constant pressure by the Pittsburgh Steelers defensively. And I think maybe once they get healthy again, then that maybe starts to happen. But as of right now, they just don't. And it's a problem, man. It's a definite problem. All right, guys, make sure you're putting your comments, questions, and concerns inside of the chat. We're about to get up out of here, but the Steelers win 21-14 in a game that they should have really won going away, but they didn't. And it's life in the National Football League. I'm not going to say that's an excuse, and I'm not going to say the Steelers shouldn't have done better because they should have. And I'm not going to just say, oh, it is what it is. No, there's a lot to work on, and the Pittsburgh Steelers hopefully are aware of that, and they probably are. I would hope so. But again, maybe this bye week's going to come at the right time. Maybe they can get in there to Ireland, sneak out a win against the Minnesota Vikings, who beat up on a Cincinnati team in a big, big way, man. Scoring, I don't know if they ended up getting over 50 points, but with 2 minutes left in the game, the last I looked before I came onto the show, they had scored 48 points against the Bengals. And that should be encouraging, for the Steelers when they play the Bengals. Maybe they can rip off a big game statistically against them. Maybe that's a divisional opponent, so it is what it is. But the Steelers definitely have to figure this thing out in terms of being consistent and scoring points, and we'll see if that ends up happening here as they move through the season. But again, guys, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, big happenings here moving forward, and hopefully things start to continue to improve for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But until hopefully tomorrow, tomorrow's Monday. We're going to try to get a show in tomorrow, maybe a couple shows. But until then, I'm Jason, and this is Mike Drop Sports. Hold on, I see a comment's coming. I think Najee just got caught off of a field. Who knows about Naj? All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll have a live show tomorrow for sure. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll get back on track here at Mike Drop Sports and be more of an everyday thing. So today was good. It got my spirits rejuvenated, got me back into the flow. So see you guys.
Power takes an approach as a coach. Let's go. Let's go. It's a field back block, and that's
guy that rolls his body around.
Live.